call is now being recorded.
There we go. Very good. Well, Andy, I'd like to, thank you for calling me again. As you know, the ACT, we had that knowledge challenge that was during the conference, and you came in first with a whole whopping 17,000 points. That's amazing. Yeah, so you were determined to win that iPad too.
I was, that's for sure.
So I guess if you first I have to say is congratulations, and I guess for the amount of work you put into that, was it worth it?
Well, I haven't got the iPad. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was. I guess I learned a lot that I thought that I knew that I didn't know about ACTE and CTE in general. So it was worth it. And I found that when I first started taking the quizzes, I would kind of hurry through the info, reading through it, and then I'd take the quiz, and then I wouldn't do as well as I thought that I should have. So I went back and took more time to read through and get some of the specifics. So I guess the big thing is I learned a lot from it.
Yeah, that is actually the ultimate prize, so to speak. So just to give you a little brief history about the testing system, it's a new system that we at KP invented. It's nothing new, but it's a system that really doesn't exist in any other form. Creating it from scratch using a series of algorithms. I can't really pronounce it very well, and also taking cues from a standard that we developed for testing and remediation. So it actually was only implemented about a month ago. So this is brand spanking new. It's only in use in our products, but in the future we'll be probably opening it up for other teachers and vendors to start using the engine. But in any case, I wanted to talk to you about your experience and how you use this new engine. This is our first major run with it, with actual teachers using it. And as you mentioned earlier, that you sped through the information and you didn't do very well. So with this, I kind of wanted to know, how you were reinforced and how you were basically prompted through the process, and driven through to continue to take the tests over and over again as you gain knowledge.
Well, to me, the whole thing was really user-friendly. I mean, I was shocked with how fast it was. I mean, you take the test, it asks if you were sure, you hit OK, and bam, the test is there. Take it, and then immediately afterwards, the scores were updated. So I was shocked with how quick it was, and really easy to navigate. Obviously the sections were easily broken to their sections, and the information was broken into parts there. So, if there was a question I wasn't sure about, I could easily where to go back and find it. So I thought it was very logical, and to be honest, I think it could be really useful in a classroom.
Well, great. This is based on new cloud technology, so nothing is really server side; it's all cloud based. So the performance on a mobile platform was of our utmost desire. And what type of device did you use to take the test on?
Actually, I used my wife's iPad.
iPad, fabulous. So that's a perfect device. It's designed to work on iPhones, but iPads ideally. So you might have had a little advantage over the other teachers who were using iPhones.
I tried to use my iPhone and I could not get it to work. I guess that's the one thing that didn't work for me is I would try to sign on with my iPhone and it would just take me right back to the login page. I tried it probably 10 different times, and then I'd go to the iPad, log in, and it would go right to it.
That is an interesting piece of information. I mean, I've had a lot of people use their iPhones, so I guess we need to debug that process and see what prevented you from being able to do that. What type of iPhone did you have?
It's 4.
A 4? Okay. So it should work for that. I mean, I have a 4S, and other people have 4s, and we tested it all the way down to a 3G. So it shouldn't.
It could have been something I was doing, but I couldn't even, even before I started taking well, when you were speaking on stage there at the opening session, I was trying to do my profile for just the conference in general, and it wouldn't let me do that either. I had to, once I got back to my room and got on the iPad, then it would work. Maybe it was my phone, maybe it was something I was doing, I don't know.
It could be, but in a classroom situation, you'd be able to control that environment. So this is a very open environment. But in any case, during the speech, the servers got hammered, so to speak, and then and caused a lot of drops, I guess is the best way to put it. So it wasn't prepared for that many teachers to go on at once, which is a good problem, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so with that experience, you felt it was very logical, and you were able to get to the information properly. My question is, now after having experienced this new testing engine, how would you say this would translate to a standard classroom environment? Would you find it useful or cumbersome or just give me your opinion on how the system might function in the classroom?
Obviously there'd have to be, that particular classroom would have to have access to technology. But aside from that, I think it would be very, very useful. I don't know what all goes into setting up the quiz on the teacher side of it, but I could see how it would be very useful and interactive and easy for kids. We're in the information age, so kids need stuff like this. They need to. I could take that back and show it to students, and they may struggle with figuring out just how to use it, and that's not going to prepare them for life moving forward. So they need things like this in the classroom. Like I said, I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely, and actually that's what we're designing for. In the future, we're going to be opening this up, and hopefully publishers will use this as opposed to like ebooks and the good old traditional old-fashioned method. At least that's our aim is to do it that way. So when did you start playing it, and how much time would you say you devoted to this process?
I started. I can't even remember now. Whatever day that opening session was, I started that night.
Okay.
And I had an advantage over other teachers that I'm kind of an insomniac. I don't sleep very well, so I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning or something playing it.
That would explain why, when I looked at it on Thursday night, Ray Munoz was in the lead. Yep. And then the next morning, it just completely changed.
Right. I don't know. There was something about it that was very addicting, too, because when I was doing that, I started, in my first quiz, I got 80 points or something like that. And I saw Ray Munoz at 2,300, and I thought, oh, my gosh, he must have spent a lot of time. But then I kept doing it and got closer, and then okay, my goal's 1,000 points. Okay, my goal's just, let me get ahead of him. And I probably didn't stop until I was 4,500 or something like that. So, I don't know, it's kind of addictive.
Yeah, and that's actually what we want, the kind of effect that we want, especially, aiming it towards students, is for them to go, oh, I just want to get more. I want to get to the next level. I want to get the next prize.
Right.
Yeah. Taking a lot of game mechanics into play.
Yep. And then that kind of continued, too, because I was at, 8,000 points, and, I was kind of taking a break from playing, but I keep checking the phone the score on my phone, and someone, I can't remember the name right now, but it's kind of late at night, and someone was playing, and it looked like they were trying to catch up. Yeah, so I went back and started playing again just to pad the lead.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually looking through my historical data, and actually, I want to graph the progression. That'd be a really fun little thing to show. But on was that Saturday? Yeah, on Friday morning, actually, Wendy was in second place, and with you at 8,000 points, and her at 4,000 points, and then all of a sudden, it completely changed, and she got bumped into 6th place 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And then all these people just popped up out of the blue.
Right.
It was actually kind of crazy.
I noticed that. That made me a little nervous, and that's why I went overboard and went to 17,000 points.
Yeah. You wanted to keep your commanding lead. And that was actually really fun for us as developers to see people getting into the system that we developed.
Yeah,
it's like anybody who designs a game, you hope that they actually use it for what it's intended for. And there's a lot of people who used it a few times, and then obviously probably got discouraged by you and your lead. But actually, it didn't discourage everybody, because I'd say about a good dozen people tried to take over your lead, and actually a good number went past 8,000, which was your original, stopping point.
Right. I noticed that too. I kind of thought when I had a big lead, I kind of thought, geez, I wonder if anybody else is going to try. And then a whole bunch of people got over 10,000 even. What, 5 or 6 are over 10,000, aren't they?
Yeah. Let me look at the last standing. No, actually, I'd say 5 people were close. We're at 9,000 or above.
Yeah. Well, that made a big jump right near the end of it then.
Yeah, just going for the sprint at the home stretch, I guess.
Right. So I guess the key for winning it then was that I got off to the lead to begin with.
Yeah, you can
stay in front of them.
Yeah, and you also intimidated the rest of the contestants, I suppose. You did a good job at that. The other thing that we're going to be doing is with this success, the ACT is probably going to push this on a national scale, and then we're probably going to set it up so that it could be you could have states or regions competing against each other for top place. Now that would be a pretty neat.
That would be cool. That would be cool, because then you have a little bit of peer pressure with your fellow teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, why is Montana lagging behind? Come on, we got to step it up and
right.
Yeah, and go through the process. And because of its random nature, so it just kind of give you a little clue as to how the system works. Each content testing module, we had five basically learning modules. And then with each learning module, you have topics within the learning module, which is your core contents. And then with each topic, there's a total of 9 questions for each topic. And when you take a test, the system randomly selects 3 of those 9, or sometimes 4, depending on the algorithm, of those 9. So that's why when you take the test, you notice that you don't get the same answers, right?
Right.
And based on that process, I kind of wanted to get your opinion on how well that reinforced your ability to learn.
I thought it did a very good job of it, because it kept you on your toes. Yeah, I definitely noticed that there were different questions being thrown out there, so it wasn't like I could just sit down and
keep guessing,
keep taking it and say that throw the same answers out there. Yeah, I had to think a little bit more. And another thing I noticed too is, a lot of times in the past, I guess, with me, with things like this, the questions are pretty remedial. And so when I first started taking this, I kind of thought, the questions might be pretty easy. There weren't going to be anything tricky. And then, as I started paying more attention, like instead of saying 81%, the one question said 80%. And just little things like that you had to catch. So I think that was good too. It makes you think more rather than, this one's automatically true, this one's automatically false.
Yeah, well, we don't believe in any filler questions, and that completely destroys the design if you throw in just remedial or filler question.
Right.
So I'm glad that you picked up on that aspect. It really made it that much more challenging, that much more effective.
Right.
And I had another question pertaining to that. Also, through the process, the letters also got randomized too. So the A, B, C's, and D's got randomized. So, talk about another level of challenge. And if you hadn't noticed that, if you actually passed the question once, you might actually have got asked the same question again, even though you passed it. And that's part of the remediation system, double checking to make sure that you didn't guess that correctly.
All right.
So you could have actually taken the test, got an answer correct, but then the second time you got that question and you answered it incorrect, it would invalidate your original response, saying you got it wrong, you screwed up.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, that was good, and that's why those two reasons are why it'll be good in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for sure I want to look into it more.
Yeah, fabulous. Definitely. If you want to help encourage this new technology, let the vendors, other people, publishers know about the KP Compass system, and have them come find us. Because right now we're trying to approach them, and they're like, yeah, I experienced it, and no one else has really developed anything like this.
Right.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. We have a summer ag teacher conference in the state of Washington,
mm-hmm.
and I made a big point talking to our officers this year that we have to have more technology based workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that KP might be interested in coming to?
Might be. Our resources are very limited. I mean, we're a very small company. Even though we look big, we just have a lot of really great ideals. So the ability to be able to do those things aren't as easy as they should be yet. I guess this is the.
If or would you have resources put together where I could present something on it in a workshop, or someone
Oh, most certainly can. I mean, teacher networks are our most valued assets, so we could definitely do something like that. And also, with this success, we're actually going to be probably pushing this quiz system out to organizations as something to try for, to have fun with, not as a paid service, but more to promote the system. So if you're interested in doing something like that for your conference, definitely hit me up. And actually, the process was very easy. You just have to have content first off, and a lot of people have the content in various places. And the second thing is to write some really damn good questions. And that's the hardest part. The hardest part is coming up with that question bank that actually makes it valuable.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me talk to our state officers, and I know the board, so I'll get back in touch with you about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, this was just an offshoot experiment. I told ACT about 3 months ago, I'm like, hey, you want to try doing a testing challenge? And I gave them the basic idea of it, and they got behind it. So after this, I'm thinking about doing it with Skills USA, FCCLA, and other DECA and other organizations like that.
Right. Okay. Good.
Well, great. That about concludes the amount of questions I have. Thanks for spending time with me on this. And just to let you know, this is our first generation, and it's going to continue to improve. And actually, someday or sometime, I want to show you the actual teacher side of things and the reporting data that I got from this experience. I'm actually writing an article, so I'll put some of that reporting data online. I'll be sure to include you on that. But part of the data is it told me which areas you were deficient in, what areas you were struggling in. So if I wanted to come and help you out with it, I'd be like, okay, you need more help in policies and procedures, so let me talk you through this or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and that's another good part that makes it great in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you didn't even get to see that side. You only got to see the student side of things.
Right. Okay, well, good.
All right, Andy, thank you so much for answering my questions, and I'm going to be writing about this and hopefully posting the article tomorrow or Tuesday, so that they'll put it online, and then it'll be really cool to see how people react to it.
Yeah, absolutely.